Hello, my name is Darius Carter, and I'm going to be doing this self-reflection assignment. So I'll read the short excerpt at the beginning of it. It says that there's almost always a cultural demarcation in the city where one side of the particular street, Ninth Street, is always building large condos, and then on the other side, there's the start of the housing projects. Now, we were supposed to determine in this assignment where our Ninth Street is. So I'm from Muncie, Indiana, which is where most of us live because we all go to Ball State. And I would say from growing up, I grew up on the south side. That was definitely our Ninth Street area in this kind of situation. However, people always used to say it's across the tracks. It's across the tracks. Once you get across the tracks, you're into the area. That's where all the factories are at. That's where all of the plants are at. That's kind of where the basis of all of this is. However, I will say at the start of Memorial, which is just across the tracks, right after you hit Ball State, you go down on Jackson. Memorial Street is a long stretch that you can either lead into the country way over here, or you can all throughout is just kind of, I guess, lower income houses where you can buy a house for $12,000. So I'd say the city is Muncie and the street is Memorial. Now, how would I characterize either side of the line? So I guess the front side of the line where Ball State is, it's more safe. There's less violent crimes. There's less drugs. I guess from what you can see, I've lived here my whole life. I can see that a lot of my friends from across the track were maybe doing more of one thing, and then my friends from over here were doing less of that thing. I'm not going to get into specifics. I'm just going to say, growing up when I was like 6 to 7 years old, I used to have friends and moms and dads of those friends like doing specific things that were pretty shady. But then when I went to Burris, which is on Ball State's campus, I didn't have those kind of friends, and so that was honestly a really good change for me to be able to get brought up from living on the south side to going from the west and north side. What, in your opinion, are the most promising methods, programs, or addressing the increasing health disparities in our country? I would say that we need to move these factories and big plants into the country, because them being around lower income areas and lower income houses and people who are living off of SNAP benefits and food stamps and Medicaid, that's where they always put these plants and that kind of stuff, like the smog and stuff like that that comes off of these areas. It actually hurts the people living around them chronically. And as we did this assignment, the discussion, it talks a little bit about how these SDOHs are affecting how we live and are affecting our how we get health care. So I would say that moving these plants and stuff would actually increase the health disparities in our country, but or actually help decrease the health chronic illnesses and stuff like that people have to go through and people have to face, and that would be a lot better for them over there. Now, I live in the country now, so I don't really have to deal with it. However, you can put it in the country where it's not near houses and homes, so people aren't getting hurt, or at least full populations aren't getting hurt, because it's always a specific set of people, a specific set of population of lower income people who are getting affected by this. What are we getting right in society? There's not a lot of things we are getting right in society, at least in my opinion, and I know this is opinionated, so that's going to be how I feel about it. We aren't getting a lot of the stuff about these whole things right in society because the government doesn't want to move these plants into the nice neighborhoods. They want to keep those neighborhoods clean of smog and clean of pollution and built up so that they can make money off of us, like taxes, and people want to spend money there, they want to be there, they want to feel safe there. So yeah, they're not going to put these kind of places in those areas. What's working well, at least for the government right now, is putting plants and factories in low income areas. That's working well for them. That's not working well for me. What I think would work really well is, like I said, if we put these factories, these plants and stuff like that into different areas so that we're not getting lower income areas and people sick with chronic illnesses and chronic diseases that they have to live with for their whole life. So thank you.